Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's certainly been an interesting time over the past few days. Donald Trump officially labeled a convicted felon, and it apparently has just totally backfired on the Democrats, with even CNN's top legal expert coming out and saying, yeah, this is complete crap. And then you've got Biden with the press conference. They ask him, what do you think about Trump being a political prisoner? Why would you do something like this? He turns around and gives like an evil grin, almost like a communist dictator. It's just crazy. And we had polling a few days ago. They haven't really updated it here in Real Clear Politics. It's very annoying. I'm going to go like state by state and kind of talk about Trump's potential blowout scenario right now. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but obviously when it comes to the polls, we're going to want to wait at least 5 or 6 days. I'm sure Trump is going to initially receive at least a small boost just because all the momentum, them making Trump a martyr. The problem for Trump might arise in the next 4 or 5 months. Obviously, at this point, it seems like the debate's going to be totally ridiculous. All Biden is going to do is call Trump a convicted felon, and we're not even going to be able to debate the issues, which may be good for Trump because I'm sure Biden does not want to debate. But either way, when it comes to, at this point, based on everything we've seen, again, we're going to have to see what the polls are next week. How much does this help Trump? And how much could it potentially hurt him down the line? I don't think it's going to hurt him. But yeah, if they put him in jail, I think it actually helps even more because people feel bad for him. It's totally like we can understand if Trump legitimately committed a crime to where there's victims, it's really bad. You could understand the American people being like, okay, we're not voting for Trump, independents abandoning Trump, we would get it. But this is just so ridiculous. Can you imagine the first president to be labeled after everything that's happened to all the other presidents, after everything they've done? The first one that gets labeled a convicted felon is Trump for whatever this is. And you can see people's arguments. I just think it's so ridiculous. It's clear they are treating Trump differently than they have every other president. And I think it's obvious he's anti-establishment. He wasn't originally a politician. It's quite simple. So when it comes to these states, look, with Georgia, we can just go through the polls at this point, but I'm sure many people understand. You take a look at Georgia, Trump's sitting about +5 right now. We'll see if it improves at all. And that's just Trump-Biden. When you include the 5-way, pretty much all of Trump's averages are going to go up. He goes up to +6 in Georgia there. So I would say Georgia for sure is going to Trump. They've got North Carolina as a swing state still. Trump about +5 there. I think Trump will definitely win North Carolina, Arizona. We just haven't gotten recent polling out of many of these states, at least. Yeah, this is from mid-May. But Real Clear Politics is weird how they don't really add many polls. So Arizona, I would say for sure right now to Trump. Nevada, recent poll that said it was tied, but I would still say Trump, obviously, plus about 5.5. You take a look at, they do have Minnesota now as a swing state. Minnesota's an interesting state. Certainly, the way things are trending, if the public reacts like a lot of people think they will to this felony charge, I think a lot of people are going to go for Trump. I think Trump at this point can win Minnesota. Obviously, all these 3 states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, they're all going to be toss-ups. But based on 2020 polling, I mean, look at this date in history. Biden +5.2, he barely wins the state. Clinton was +8.3. So the error would suggest Trump's actually up by about 4 or 5 points in Michigan. Pennsylvania, Biden was +6.7. He barely wins it. Trump now sitting +2.3. That's a swing of about 9 points in terms of polling average in that state. So in terms of best case scenario for Trump, obviously all these states would be slight Republican, including Minnesota. You also do have Arizona and Nevada. I would say maybe darken the shade there a little bit. Georgia, darken it. North Carolina, darken it as well. And then you kind of move on to, can we potentially somehow get Trump in what would be an absolute epic blowout to 400 electoral votes based on the dynamics right now in the United States, Republicans versus Democrats? It's going to be very, very hard to get Trump to 400 electoral votes. He's at 322 right now. You're going to take that district in Nebraska, by the way. And then also I would say The statewide Maine as well. The one district Trump has zero chance of winning. The other one he's going to win. And then statewide, it's going to be close. I know Biden won it in 2020, but in a Trump best case scenario right now, I would say he would win that. The other states that I could see fringe, possibly, maybe if you want to. Also, Alaska's not going to go to Biden. You can darken that. The other states that I would say we'll see, definitely New Hampshire. So New Hampshire would be one. Is there any polls on New Hampshire recently? Yeah, so Biden's sitting +4, +3. I'd love to see a five-way between all of them. But New Hampshire, listen, if you want to talk about what's been going on, the dialogue, Trump, just the unfair charges, even liberals coming out and admitting and denouncing and saying this is ridiculous, let's actually beat Trump instead of trying to weaponize the political system. They've completely gone off the rails. They're totally deranged by Trump. They can't handle it, and now they're showing their true colors, and it really is sad. So you take a look at a state like New Hampshire. It's going to be close, but Trump could win it, and then that gets him to 329. It's interesting with a state like New York. I think the best political justice for Trump would be somehow, and they've got it as a dark, dark blue here on Real Clear Politics. There was a recent poll, and of course maybe they do have it. Maybe it was a five-way. No, they don't have it. So they didn't even add it. So there was a recent poll in New York that had a five-way. It was Biden plus, I want to say, 6. And if you look at the 2020 election and the error in New York, Trump was underestimated by 6 points. That's not to say, oh, it's tied. I'm not insinuating that. I still think Biden, based on the dynamics of just the American people, shifting New York that far is going to be so hard. But could you imagine in the state where Trump gets charged, he somehow wins, and especially with how liberal New York is, that would be pure political justice. So let's just say, for the sake of the argument, we've seen polls, maybe it's getting closer. Trump wins New York. People realize, they wake up. It's crazy. Now he's at 357. I mean, you could give Trump New Mexico. Right now, I think Biden probably leads it by 4 or 5. There's basically no polling. I actually would be kind of interested to see if there's any polling out of New Mexico, just to see. New Mexico, when was this? Is almost a year ago. No, this was August of last year. It's hard. So Biden +8. There's no five-way polling. Yeah, we're going to have to get more polling out of there. So we will see. But I would say right now, this is probably as far as you could stretch it for Trump. You might be able to argue something like the state. Oh, excuse me. I almost forgot. Virginia would be another state that Trump would win for sure. If this is a best case scenario, you take a look at Virginia. They've got it as a slight Democratic lean. Biden sitting +3. There was a recent poll that had it tied, and that's not even, well, the five-way I think has Biden leading. Yeah, it does by 2. But again, best case scenario for Trump based on what's been going on recently, based on Biden's approval rating, based on him becoming a martyr somehow, even though he's a multi-billionaire. It's crazy. They've twisted the dynamic. They've screwed themselves. And now Trump has such a huge advantage. And so a state like Virginia could very easily go to Trump. We thought it was going to be a liberal state. And then what happened in 2021 with Glenn Youngkin, you would still think slightly Biden type state, but best case scenario, you give Trump that. Now he's up to 375. Yeah, now you're really starting to stretch it. You could say maybe Colorado, but there's been a big migration from California to Colorado. It's going to be very hard for Trump to win that state. Washington, Oregon, it's unlikely. The state that I would look at would possibly be New Jersey if I wanted to try and really get Trump up around 400. New Jersey had a poll not a while ago, maybe like 3 months ago, I want to say. I believe they have this poll. Yeah, New Jersey, they had a poll that had Biden up 7, and that's just a two-way. So it's not a horrible deficit, but it's just one poll. Maybe Biden's up by more, I don't know. But in general, I would look at New Jersey. Maybe you look at a state like Oregon. Oregon's got some weird stuff going on with it. You've got the eastern part of Oregon trying to join Idaho and become Greater Idaho because they hate Portland and they hate the politics. And the eastern part of Oregon is completely rural. It's a weird dynamic. But these two polls were last year. Hillary won by 10. Biden won by 16. That's a 6-point shift. So Oregon, I don't think Trump's going to be able to make up 16 points, honestly. Colorado, look at that shift. Wow. That's a, yeah, there's no way Trump's going to be able to win Colorado either. Even in a best case scenario, I just don't see it. Washington, very unlikely. Yeah, all these states are shifting even further to the left. You want to know why they always win the popular vote. But other than that, I mean, this is as, Illinois, I just can't see. I mean, listen, it's single digits. This is from last year, though, man. Nah, it's just not going to happen. So I would say this has got to be the best case scenario for Trump, unless something just catastrophic comes out. If something catastrophic comes out, maybe Trump takes Illinois and you get over 400. If he takes Illinois, I mean, these states have just shifted so far to the left. There's no way California is an option. I don't see Colorado being an option. Hawaii is not an option. I don't think these dimple states are an option. So yeah, I would say it would probably be Illinois to get him over 400. But in a realistic best case scenario, this has got to be dark blue. In a realistic best case scenario, I would say New York probably still blue, and it would be something like this. New Mexico probably still blue as well. But that still gets Trump over 340 at that point, and he wins all the little district toss-ups that he can. Obviously, this one's going to be a blowout in favor of Biden. It's just the way the population is in that area, but this would probably be realistic best case scenario, just based on where we are right now. There would have to be some type of crazy situation with Biden, or listen, let's just say Kamala. If Kamala somehow gets put in, maybe Biden croaks, something happens, then yeah, you'd be looking at Trump, I would say, winning a lot of these states, probably at that point getting over 400, maybe even winning a state like, maybe even taking a state like Oregon at that point, if Kamala was running against Trump. Kamala, I wonder if there actually is polling on Kamala against Trump. I'm not going to find it, but so these are the polls that people were talking about, like reacting to, the Saturday polls, to try and see how the American people were going to react to Trump getting convicted. And I just don't read much into these. I think we need to wait till next week, preferably like Wednesday or Thursday, maybe Tuesday, I don't know. Next week will tell a lot. These polls are like rapid, instant, I don't know. I don't really trust them. I haven't really looked at 538 though. Is there any? Yeah, see, they do have this. This is a New York poll. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't put this in to their aggregate. Here's the poll I was referencing: Biden +6. You do have Kennedy taking 6 there. Westenstein combining for 3. So, and then even just Biden Trump, it's only a 7-point lead for Biden. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's pretty much the last one that I saw. I would like to look at this. I don't think this has changed at all. Yeah, this has not changed. It is just deadlocked, -15 overall spread in his approval rating. So I would say that's best case scenario for Trump. I think the Democrats' plan is not to really care about what the polls are in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because I do think it is going to galvanize people around Trump. They just want the saying, oh, he's a convicted felon. How could you vote for a felon? Are you kidding me? This just replaces racist. It replaces transphobe. This is just their new trigger word. And I think most people see past it. But look, we'll see what ends up happening. Either way, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.